And all right, stop. So this is the first third down of the game. It's the opening drive of the first play of the season against two users. So you got to try and you like to come out and get a score if you're Houston, and if you're the Saints, you like to come out and get a stop. So Houston's going to come out 5 wide. They're really trying to come out and spread apart a zone as much as possible. And the Saints are going to counter with this one high look. One high means one safety in the middle of the field, as you can see there. And then across the board, it looks like you have man alignment, man coverage. You see this because on the left-hand side, you see a set by Fuller and Hopkins, and they're stacked. So the corner and the other corner over there, Lattimore, they're mirroring that. And then on the right-hand side, you have a 3-wide set. And everybody has a man in front of them. In off coverage, it could indicate zone, but for all intents and purposes, they've come out and they've manned a line. Basically, they have 4 down linemen, one linebacker in the middle of the field, one safety high, and they just think that they can come out of man. Now, one thing to pay attention to here is going to be this middle linebacker in the middle of the field. He's not over a man, so he can be doing a couple of things here. He can be blitzing a quarterback. That's very common in these man schemes. You try and force a quick decision 5-on-5. You got Cam Jordan on a rookie right tackle, so you would be causing a double team to not be allowed by blitzing linebacker, or you could drop him into coverage, or you can drop him into a spy. Watson's a very athletic quarterbacks, and man coverage normally means you're going to give up some kind of QB run, so maybe that's the counter there on 3rd and 3. The play here that the Houston has is just a little quick bunch concept to the right, to the left side. Rather, there's an out route, a corner route. On the right-hand side, they had 2 outs with the underneath, which seems to be the priority route on the play to Kuti. So we're going to see here as he snaps the football in, and we'll pause again. So now we've noticed that they actually they do have a spy, but it is not going to be that middle linebacker. Rather, it's going to be the defensive end who's going to drop to the middle of the field. So he is going to spy. So Watson now knows he has time in the pocket, assuming his right tackle doesn't get beat. But there is a spy, and they're going to drop into cover 3. What I mean by cover 3, you see the cornerbacks on each side drop extremely deep. That's in the one deep safety. They're playing deep there. We see Danny himself is usering Von Bell. He's going to, you have the 2 best receivers on the team on that side of the field, so he decides to place himself there as opposed to using normally the middle of the field, which is what you might be expecting off the snap, is for him to, to be a linebacker in the middle of the field roaming around, but instead he chooses to guard this bunch. The obvious read here is the read that was highlighted in red. With everything bunched, back, there is an easy read right there to Miller underneath. He'd have 2 people to set up to block him, and that would be a good conversion. But a good job here of man aligning and then dropping into a zone, making it look like pressure might be coming, and then go and drop 8. That's a big mind game thing. And instead, Watson feels like he may have had man pre-snap, so he's going to go after who he believes his best man-on-man receiver is, and that's going to be Hopkins there on the left-hand side, so he's going to throw this corner route. It does get broken up. There is a flag, but that's a big 3rd down play, good disguising their coverage, and they're able to go in and force a 3-and-out on their first drive. All right, so here, let's look at a 2nd and 10 on the first drive for New Orleans. As you can see on the play art, the Texans are trying to bring some pressure here. You have really good tackles, really good offensive line for the Saints. So getting pressure early and often, not allowing Drew to sit back there seems to be high on the priority list. They have a cover 3 blitz disguised to look like man coverage, and we'll look more into the disguise here in a second. But as you can see, the nickel and the left linebacker are blitzing. That's going to leave that purple seam flat on the left side available. He has to guard 2 routes in the middle of the field. And that's tough, but the idea is that you're going to get pressure enough that shell, everybody rotating post-snap is going to confuse the read enough to get that pressure in. But it's important to look not at what we know is happening, but at what Drew and Danny is expecting to happen. So let's back out here and let's go to what he's looking at. So as you can see, all corners are on one side of the field, and they're lined up right over top of receivers. You have two high safeties. Everything here screams man coverage. You have the right outside linebacker is going to theoretically be in man on the tight end, and then you're going to have that left outside linebacker who would have Kamara responsibilities. The thing is, with all the corners on one side of the field, if you look on the right side of the field there's nothing. There's all this space for probably the deadliest open field player in the entire franchise. So, this might be an indicator for Drew to do a quick dump off to just try and let Kamara beat that linebacker who's already on the wrong hash to the sideline, or it might be an indicator that, something's up here for this defense, that maybe a blitz is coming off that left-hand side. So what they're going to do, and the concept that they have dialed up here, is a angle route here by Kamara and a corner route by the tight end. Now, if you look at the offensive line, the first thing we notice is the left tackle breaks off and picks up the blitzing corner. So this normally indicates that Drew knew that pressure was coming, Danny knew it was coming, so he shaded his line to the left, maybe even highlighted. But either way, the pressure gets picked up, but a man does come free. Even though he picks up the blitz, it's just too many people on one side of the field. So that pressure comes in on Drew really quick, and a quick ball is forced. Houston, Finn is using Clowney. This is, to kind of help out with him thinking that he might want to throw a wheel route or a flat route to Kamara, is to instead of using a linebacker or a corner, to use a Clowney, and they go ahead and get outside, as much outside as possible, to deter a flat route. He's got the angle route dialed up. Now, if you look here, he has the angle route and he has the corner route, but because that pressure's coming, he doesn't have time to throw that corner, which is wide open. Instead, he throws the ball down to Kamara. It is complete, but if in terms of how do you want to put the Saints into certain positions to put a spot where Kamara is instantly sandwiched by Clowney and a hard-hitting linebacker on a tight throw? Yes, it is complete. It's a good blitz pickup by the Saints, but a good play. It's a forced third down here by the Texans. 2nd and 19. It's just so important to make 2nd and 19 not become 3rd and 19. And Danny is so patient. He sees this crow here. He throws it about 6-7 yards in front of the first down marker and actually gets some after the yards. So, guys, remember, 2nd and 19 doesn't mean you need to convert. You just need to make it better for 3rd down. And maybe after the catch, you get enough to get that first down, just like Smith does here. All right, so we have a 3-3 ball game, and we got 2nd and 12 as the Houston Texans are trying to put together a drive before the end of half here. Got about 3 minutes left. So they come out in the gun here, and they have a curls flat concept, 2 curls on the left-hand side and a curl flat on the right-hand side. And if you look there, and I'll run it back here, the nickel corner moves. And that's the indicator right there that that's the user linebacker. Not one of the linebackers in there not moving, but this guy right here. Danny moves him, and that tells me that's the user. So what am I going to do? Well, we're looking at a cover 2 look here. With too high, the corner's off. They're not impressed, but they're not super drop deep, which would give away kind of cover 4. And not a lot of guys run cover 4. So unless this rotates to cover 3, for all intents and purposes, this is going to be cover 2. We know Danny's a user. We're going to circle him in red here. So with the 2 curls, it's not going to work. Danny and a cornerback is going to be able to cover from the hash to the numbers on both of those curl routes. And then that's going to limit one side of the field. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Hopkins on the go route. And what that's going to do is that's going to stretch the range that Danny has to use her. He has to really use her this Kati curl, more of a spot route, and then he has to get really far back to almost where a purple zone would play if he wants to play the go route by Hopkins, which has the natural opening versus cover 2. So the first read here is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. We would like to get the ball right between the corner and the safety. The Saints don't have, an X factor safety, so that might be a little much to ask from old Marcus Williams. But if Danny does drop back and double Hopkins, which it's probably a focus for him, then we're going to go right here to Kati. If this is cover 3 and that's the yellow zone, by dropping that deep, that should be open. But always have a backup check down plan. If that linebacker does slide over, if Lattimore drops with Hopkins and it's man or something like that, then there's always Miller there on the quick flat. And at that point, if you're at that far into the route and you haven't been sacked yet, get the hell out of Dodge or throw the football away. So that's the key thing here. So we're going to go ahead and snap the football. And we're going to see instantly on the curl, Danny User is in fact using that nickel player, and he's going to drop hard on the curl route, and that's going to give just enough room there to open up DeAndre Hopkins, who, as you can see, Lattimore, his hips are inside. If he was in man coverage, he would be facing Hopkins. His hips would be facing the sideline, trailing Hopkins. But instead, we know he's in cover 2 zone because he has his head and his hips towards the quarterback. That's kind of the indicator that, I'm saying indicator a lot, but that's just letting you know that he's in zone. And just with Hopkins being even to him and on the outside leverage, that just tells me that he's beat. There's a phrase in the football world: if the receiver's even with the cornerback, he's got him beat. So you just got to anticipate that Lattimore's going to release him here, which he does, and Danny gets held enough by that spot route to where he can't get back to guard the user linebacker. So let's watch it again. Good catch by Hopkins. Well, when you play with fire long enough, you're going to get burnt. And here's an example of that here. 1st and 15, 3-3 ball game, just in the red zone. Red zone passing game, you just got to make sure that you're making accurate reads and not taking any risk. On the left side, we kind of have almost a levels concept with Hopkins with the short in, and Kati with the late developing dig. Really, it's just a high-low read. You just got to be patient with the read here, see what's open, and then throw it. Danny's doing what he did earlier, and that is he's using this nickel corner. And it's going to cause some confusion. And sometimes, especially in tight places like this, we saw before in the cover 2, we had the go route because we had a lot of room that Danny was stretched to guard. But this time he's got more compact space. So you start playing with that too much, you're going to get in trouble. So here we snap the football. We see that he's using, and he's going to drop instantly outside shade of Kati. And I think he's trailing Kati, just trying to play maybe a corner route. And I think that at this point, I felt like there's no linebacker underneath, that he would naturally drift deep with Kati, and then we would have Hopkins underneath. Danny actually was not drifting for the corner route. Instead, he was heading to bracket Hopkins. So he makes a nice little cut back right in front of the route here for Hopkins. And as we see right at the time of the throw, obviously he's in great position to make a play on the ball here. If I just was more patient with this read, as you can see, Kati deep is wide open. There's nobody in the middle of the field to impede his catch. It would have been a touchdown, but a good job by Danny to trail and bracket coverage, my best receiver, my number 1 target, and he makes an excellent play on the ball here. So let's take a look at a couple back-to-back touchdowns here, one for each team, in which the defense is kind of relaxed from disguising, and they just come out and play their coverage, and how, we'll see how important it is to disguise, or at least show a little bit of deception. Otherwise, a good offense or a good user will really tell you apart. So here we are. The Saints are up. We're at the 18 seconds left, so they really don't want to give up a touchdown here. They would like to force a field goal or force a sack out of field goal range. We have 2 safeties high, and we have man coverage. How do we know we have man coverage? It's based on the alignment. As you can see on the right side, all 3 receivers have a man right in front of them. Normally in zone, they won't be right over the top. They'll just kind of be in their designated spots. So that's our first indicator that it may be man coverage. Also on the left side over Graham, that corner is tucked in real close to Graham. So it looks like he may be having the tight end or the running back responsibilities. So that's our first indicator that it's man coverage. Is everybody has a guy right in front of them, and then second we have the safeties over the top to kind of tell us it's cover 2 man instead of like cover 0. So it could rotate to cover 3, and if that's the case, then we want Kuti over there on that slot fade to kind of outrun the deep third on that side. But the main read here is just if it's man on man, I have your best receiver Hopkins in the slot on a linebacker. So as long as those safeties stay split to too high outside of the hash marks after the snap, it should be an easy read. So that's exactly what's going to happen. There's no real disguise here. Danny decides that he wants to play Hopkins one-on-one with the linebacker, maybe to kind of deter a pass to him, but he beats the press, and nobody will catch Hopkins here. So we'll watch it one more time. And that's a good play there. Good throw, good catch. Get after the catch, touchdown. So here we see Houston comes out, and it's an instant shift, and they do a really bad job at not disguising. You really want that shift to happen right at post-snap. You got to call a timeout here, guys. If you're in this situation, if you come out and you give away what you're doing, the shift, it's an obvious blitz here that these right 2 corners are coming, and you'd have to, I don't know if you'd have to base a line in your settings, but to come out and instantly give away this shifting blitz, a user like Danny is going to know what's happening. So you come out and you do this rotation, and what's happening is you have, 2 tight ends or 1 tight end and a receiver on the right-hand side. And now because they're blitzing both corners there, you have this outside linebacker that's responsible for not only the slot receiver being Michael Thomas, the top 5 receiver in the game, but also the tight end Jared Cook, who's 87 overall. So you have 1 linebacker responsible for 2 87 overall plus players on the blitz, and you've already given away your blitz. So and Danny catches it quick. Look here at Drew Brees here as he's going to make a quick audible call here. And I don't know if he's moving the slot. It looks like Michael Thomas. He's moving him to a verticals route because he has Cook on a verticals route, and he really wants to stretch. He knows the blitz is coming. He knows a lane is going to be open, and that linebacker has 2 responsibilities. And as you see here, it's exactly what happens is Danny sees it. He sees Cooks open because the linebacker takes Thomas, and it's an easy read there. So you got to make sure you're disguising your blitz, and if you get caught here in a bad adjustment in the zone player as well, so the blitz may not even affect Drew that much. You got to call your timeouts on 3rd and 11, and just live for another play. Once again, not a huge breakdown, but this is for this play. But it just shows how important it will be this year to take good, smart angles and to just tackle with the A button and then not constantly strip. So, you have a trailing defender on the blitz. He picks it up well. You'll see that Kamara stays in. I don't know if that's a manual adjustment or not, but they're going to pick up the blitz, hit the drag to a speedy DJ Shark, and it's just poor tackling, and obviously that animation right there sucks. But you really got to make sure that you're tackling well, that you're in the right spot, that you're taking good angles. Don't give up a big play just because you've already given up, a first down. So let's go here to a big play to get Houston back in the game after giving up the 2 touchdowns, one to Cooks, the interception, and then of course the touchdown to DJ Shark. So they come out 1st and 10. It's the first play of the drive, and you really want to get the ball moving. You're showing press man across the board here with the 2 high safeties. And one of the things that we've learned throughout this game is that you can't always trust what you see pre-snap. Danny has done everything from spy a defensive end, drop from, showing blitz into cover 3, gone from cover 2 to show cover 3, 3 to show blitz. He's done it all game long. So now what you have to start doing is you have to start building in this, okay, what if it's a man? What if it's zone? And what if it's a completely different zone? And obviously you can't prepare for everything, but this specific play, you have the post, the dig on the left side, and then there was an out to Fuller, but we're going to move that to a go. Why are we going to move that to the go? And that's because he's in press coverage, and because he hasn't shaded off, if this does rotate to cover 3, then we know that Fuller on the right side is one-on-one with the guy that he's a lot faster than. That's not Lattimore over there. That's P.J. Williams, who isn't the best press man corner, and he doesn't have the speed Fuller has. So with what we have here, if this is indeed man, I would say our first read is going to be one of the digs or the drag to Graham, or the out route or the in route, to Lamar Miller out of the backfield. That's against linebackers. We're going to trust Miller's 93 speed against Anzalone. So that would be the first read. If we drop in its zone, cover 2 zone, we know we have a high-low read with the dig and the post. So Hopkins, obviously, Hopkins would be fine, but going to Kuti would be great as well. It's all about making the read and making sure that those safeties stay too high, but they're not going to stay too high here at the snap. Actually, what we're going to have is a cover 3 rotation. And they are going to be pressing. So it's press cover 3 here. And the user is going to be the free safety. He's going to come up and play the dig. So what we are going to see is we're going to see a play where rotates to cover 3. PJ fails to get a good press here on Fuller. So as the key here as a quarterback is just as soon as you see the snap, you have your setup. As soon as you see the snap, watch the safeties. The ball gets snapped. We see that safety rotate to 1 high in the middle of the field. Peek to the right. Fuller ends up breaking through past the press coverage by Williams, and then he's going to be home free down the sideline. We kind of throw the football away. We drifted away from the safety in the middle of the field. We know that he's going to have a lot of ground to cover, so we don't want to put the Fuller in position to get hit. So we kind of throw it outside of the numbers, and that's a big throw, big touchdown with 5 minutes left to get him back into the game. I really couldn't do every play in this game. It would be damn near 45 minutes, but big game by Danny. Smart plays, put him in a good position to force a couple huge turnovers, score on those turnovers, and then even eventually force a 4th down, a sack to end the game. So look out for more of these detailed videos breaking down all the top matchups throughout the season. So thanks for watching.